I was raised in a very strict, legalistic Christian home. My dad was a pastor until I was about age 10. In high school, I really started to rebel. I started to drink a lot, partying a lot. In the early 90s, I moved up to Tampa to go to USF with my girlfriend at the time and now wife, Michelle. Unfortunately, I started getting into trouble with the law at that point. I was arrested several times. At the age of 22, I started doing drugs for the first time. By age 23, I was selling drugs in clubs on the weekends. By age 25, this had grown to a very large-scale operation where I was selling and sending drugs out of state. I was making a lot of money. I was partying, traveling, doing whatever I wanted to. Life seemed so good, so perfect at that time. Unfortunately, my world came crashing in around me in the summer of 2000. I was arrested on several felony charges of trafficking drugs out of state. The minimum prison sentence that I was facing was 51 years in prison without parole. I remember the first Sunday I was in jail, was Father's Day. Told Michelle to call my parents and ask them if they would take a call. Take a call for me while I was in jail.
Sometimes in life things get off course, and you just don't seem to know how you got there.
I remember that day getting ready for the call, and I was filled with so much emotion, anger, bitterness, resentment.
But Father's Day 2000 changed everything. On Father's Day, I took a collect call from my son in jail.
I said to my dad, if you don't start loving me unconditionally as your son and stand by me as your son from this moment forward, then I don't want to ever have anything to do with you again.
We would finally let each other back into our lives. All I had to do was love him. Oh, I hadn't stopped loving him. I just hadn't told him or showed him in a long time.
And told him, if you don't love me and start loving me the way a father should love a son, then I don't want you a part of my life. As a father now, I can't even imagine how my dad felt. I can't stress enough, but through a series of truly miraculous events, God saved me from 51 years in prison, and I didn't serve another day in jail. After that, though, I really started to stumble through life. I was trying to figure out where I fit in with my dad and where I fit in with God. I didn't realize this, but to me, they were one and the same. And so I really struggled. I really stumbled through life until my mid-30s. And then everything changed for me. When I had kids, twins, a boy and a girl, and life at that point really changed, and God really got a hold of me at that point. And I realized in that moment that if I didn't want my kids to make the same mistakes that I had made, then I needed to make wholesale changes to my life. I needed to commit my life to Christ 100% and never look back. And that's what I did. I was finally able to ask God and ask my dad for forgiveness. That day that I made that call from jail, he was there for me every step of the way after that. He was there for me when I married Michelle later that year in 2000. He was there to perform part of the ceremony. When I was sentenced to no time in jail, my dad was the first person that I turned to and hugged and told him I love him. What I finally realized when I fully committed my life to Christ was not only had God been there every step of the way with me, but my dad had been there every step of the way